Top five, top five, top five.
Send Topical back with another video. I'm Strange Wang. He is Nate. Today we're doing top 5 Blumhouse movies because they have a film coming out called Firestarter, which is a remake from the 80s movie because nobody wanted to see that then. So they're like, yeah, people want to see that now.
A lot.
But before we talk about good, because I think that movie's going to be dog shit, but we're going to talk about good Blumhouse movies. He's going to talk about the social media and where you can find us.
If you scroll down to the description box below, pop it open, you'll find links to our social media accounts. There's also a link to our Coffee account and our Patreon account. So if you click those, you can help support us financially. We really appreciate that, and it's much needed. We also have some really good bonus content on the Patreon, and it's really cheap. So go check that out. Sign up for one. If you're not going to do any of those things, then subscribe because it's free. And if you don't know how we do our top 5s, he's going to start with his 5 and 4. I'll give my 5 and 4, 3, 2, 3, 2. Then we trade off number 1s. We also have something called the Zemeckis rule, which just means if we both have the same movie on our list, but one person has it 2 spots or higher, then we'll just talk about it once on the higher one.
My number 5 is the title that explains how I like my women. Freaky.
Oh, okay.
This is a very fun movie. It's basically the hot chick, if you're familiar with that Rob Schneider classic. First movie Strange Wang song in the movie theater was The Animal. So shouts out Rob Schneider. Yeah. Power went out. I had to go back and see it. So I saw it first 2 times I went to the movie theater. It was the same movie twice. Anyways, it's the hot chick. You got a serial killer goes in a teenage girl's body. Tension. No one sees her killing people. So you get a lot of up close gory scenes, which makes you like, it makes you squirm, you know? The effect gets off. Or if you don't, your imagination is going to put that in for you. So you got good filmmaking with that. You got tension because you know who's in her body, but you don't know that. You know she's in his body, but when her friends and shit, everyone else in the movie sees that, they're like, big scary dude. You know what I'm saying? So you get a lot of good tension, a lot of good comedy. It's a great, funny. I ain't got nothing to do. Let's throw on this. One of those movies. And those movies are essential to Strange Wang's viewing pleasure, I believe. And Blumhouse has a few of those. Like my number 4, Happy Death Day.
What's my number 4?
Fun. It's a rip from another movie. Groundhog's Day. Classic. You get it. The premise is so easy to understand.
Yeah.
That it's just like, alright, I like this movie. Let me sit down and enjoy it because you got enough comedy mixed with the horror to make a good, fun. Oh, this is on. I'm flipping through FX and boom, cable channels. Because I'm the only one who still got cable. Because I like wrestling. Fun movie. Enjoy it.
It is a really fun movie. More and more movies have come out that follow like the Groundhog Day principle. Most of them
Pretty damn good.
not half bad.
Palm Springs.
Palm
great
Springs
movie.
was really good. Edge of Tomorrow or Live Die Repeat is good. There's a little like teen rom-com. I think it's on Amazon. It's either Amazon or Hulu called The Map of Tiny Perfect Things. Yeah. Surprisingly good from someone who is very critical of like young adult type stuff. But yeah, Happy Death Day nails it. It's really fun. Like it's the perfect amount of scary for someone who is terrified like me to be able to watch it and really enjoy it. You actually kind of give a crap about the main character a little bit. It mixes in some really good laughs while still maintaining like the seriousness of it. It is just a shame that they absolutely ruined it by trying to explain it in the sequel.
You're not wrong.
But that first movie by itself is good.
That's why you don't have to watch the sequel.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll did it.
And so my number 5 is 2018's Halloween. It's on there because...
Close. That made my list.
Yeah, I went and saw this in a theater with this guy and another former friend of ours. And that was so much fun. Like, I did not expect to have that much fun watching this movie, but I did. And I think that's just like, Blumhouse, they have a lot of misses. But their hits are just like really, they make really fun horror movies. I really cared about the characters. And like, I've only seen the original Halloween like once, I think. So it's like, for me to not have a super strong connection to the franchise, not really know that much about like Laurie Strode and all that, but still find a way to invest and care. It also didn't hurt that we reacted to the trailer, which was like a massive bait and switch because the whole trailer is really just trying to set you up that these two characters are going to be important to the story, and they do not last long. So yeah, that was it. Just fun.
My number 3 is going to be The Invisible Man.
Oh, I forgot about
A
that.
total, like, classic, let's update it. And it's an update that makes sense. It's like Scarface, you went from prohibition to cocaine. It wasn't needed, but it's a acceptable update, a remake for a film. You have technology now. It makes sense this man can do this, and he uses it for evil. Evil! Say fuck you to his ex-wife. You know, you got a Johnny Depp, Amber Heard situation with their relationship. It's ludicrous. It's bonkers. And it just goes into a whole nother horror level. There's tension. There's fucking enough in there to make you truly know and care about these characters, other than her husband abuses her.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of movies just throw that out there, and it desensitizes you to these awful things that happen to people.
Yeah, sure.
In a lot of movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of like a Netflix movie, or like, not saying Marvel movies do this, but they throw it in and they expect you to care because they just gotta get to this point real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, there's enough to make you care about these characters. Enough to make you know about these characters to care about them. And then the finales and the climax is so much. And he's invisible, tension, scary.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see it coming. Excellent thriller.
Yeah. It is. I was never as big on it as you are. I did still really like it. Also, now that I'm thinking about it, it's super interesting that they have this suit that does what it does. And, like, they just use it to torment this one specific.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe, like, after they were done with her, they had, like, much bigger plans for that. But you could do a lot of, like, good or a lot of damage with that ability, and you just spend it on terrorizing this one specific person psychologically.
If you had the suit, what would you do with it?
Massive waste of time. Oh, I would be rich. You would
steal
never.
shit?
You would never. I'm not telling you what I would do with it, but
You would be rich. What do you mean?
yeah, I would be rich.
Communication is the key for a good relationship.
I know, but you're not the only one listening.
Whisper in my ear. Penis. He said penis. Me, personally, I would get a more immature use out of it. And I would just be visible and go into crowded places and pants people. Because I'm a child at heart, and that shit's funny.
I would absolutely do a fair amount of that as well. But you're just because, like, you're still touchable. So, like, you're just risking getting caught.
No, bro. If you pant somebody, they're worried about getting them drawers up, especially if you grab underwear with it.
I know.
And sometimes you grab underwear on accident.
But you still got to get off them really quick. And what if somebody, like, had walked up behind you and you didn't realize it, and all of a sudden you bump into someone and they're just like, you know, now you got to get out of there.
It's like, oh shit, this dude ain't got no pants, bro.
Yeah.
I guess I couldn't do it at bars because something might get spilled on me and then you see me.
That's true.
But that's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah.
This man is talking about getting rich at penises. I'm like, I don't want to pants people.
Yeah.
My number 3 is going to be a little short.
You're number 2.
Number 2, I mean, keep me on track.
So
Strange Wings number 2 is going to be Hush, a little film on Netflix nobody really saw. But if you watch it,
including me,
it fucking stays with you. It's a great contained thriller. It reminds me of Rear Window, which is one reason why I love that. Because you got this person in the house. She's not just any kind of person. She's deaf.
Oh, that movie.
Can you hear a serial killer stepping behind you, coming to kill you if you're deaf?
No.
She can't hear. So you have to
all these creative scenarios that I haven't seen in film to add tension to make me care about her, similar to how James Stewart moved in Rear Window, because he had broken legs, broken leg and then broken legs. He was disabled. So you have this killer just stalking the house. You have friends coming to the house like, hey, my wife hasn't came home yet, or my wife left the house. There's tension in that. And it's just such a creative film, and I wish it got a bigger platform, or Netflix actually had a marketing team to say, hey, watch this Halloween. It's fucking great. And it's been on Netflix for like 10 years. Criterion, buy that shit, put it out. Or Arrow, one of you, I want a Blu-ray of this.
My number 3, again, sometimes we clarify, sometimes we don't. These are our personal favorites.
Number 3 for me is going to be Split. I really love that movie. I'm a psychology nerd, so like that helps a lot. Even though this is like an unrealistic portrayal of how someone with multiple personalities acts, it also exists in a world where there are people with very subtle superpowers, so it's fine. But yeah, lots of tension, lots of just like curiosity throughout the film, just making you wonder. Like it has like solid twists in it. It's just like, why can't he make movies like that more often? Like, I don't know why he just can't. But yeah, the performances are all really good in it. Like, it's engaging, it's super interesting. James McAvoy crushes it, like literally playing essentially 7 different characters in a movie.
I thought it was 23 like Dr. Pepper.
And I'm pretty sure it's 7. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Anyways, if it was 23, like, we just wouldn't get to hear a lot of them.
Give that dude a fucking Oscar.
Take up too much of the movie. But yeah, I really, really like that movie a lot. And then obviously when everyone found out that it was part of the Unbreakable universe, then that's great. But even before we found that out, just standalone, super, super interesting movie. Facts! Anyways, so my number 2 is probably your number 1. And it's only because I knew a movie was a Blumhouse movie that you didn't know was a Blumhouse movie. So my number 2 is Get Out.
That was my number 1.
Yeah.
That's top 3 greatest movies of the 2010s.
I would agree. I don't know that anyone could argue that.
It has, like, this movie came out in fucking February and stayed in cinemas until February of next year.
Yeah.
Like, the President's movie is incredible. I think I love this movie, not only because it was a good, entertaining movie, it reminded me of the 90s. The plot didn't have to be this artistic masterpiece, but it had enough of that mixed with just good filmmaking and like shit that people like to see.
Yeah.
Characters people can relate to, and just put that in a movie. And it's just a good movie. It's a great movie. But what it did for something that I love, I think that's why I love it so much more. Because people that, like, I worked at a restaurant. We worked at the same restaurant at the time. You know these people. People who have terrible taste in movies, who say Fast and Furious 17, you say 9.8 out of 10. To me, no. These people are coming up like, man, this movie's so complex. And it's so simple to understand, and it has so much meaning behind the message. And people going to see this movie and enjoying this movie without all the CGI and superheroes and all this other bullshit that get you in a theater. It's not a franchise. It's not Jurassic World 3 that puts you in the theater with old characters. It's a creative piece of art that's relatable to everybody.
Yeah. I agree wholeheartedly. First of all, you never know. Fast and Furious 17 could be a 9.8 out of 10.
They're stopping at 10.
We haven't got there yet.
What the motherfuckers do? Fight in the volcano? Mix that shit with Star Wars?
Go back in time.
Vin Diesel gonna show up in that Obi-Wan Kenobi show?
Yeah, right.
And he's gonna be like...
You gotta treat him like family.
He's like, you left us. We're family.
Yeah, Get Out is incredible. Agree with everything that you just said. Storytelling is absolutely impeccable in that movie. Also an interesting plot with like a really important and genuine message. To me, this is what horror should always be. Like, you know, not necessarily like, I mean, make all the horror movies with that message that you want, but like it's impactful. It's not just like a gore fest for the sake of being a gore fest. It's not just mindless like action horror or anything like that. Like there's just real personal connection, like things to learn from this movie, while also like being clenched up for the majority of the film because you know something is going to happen, but you don't know when and you don't know what. So like expert level suspense, expert level like filmmaking, like plot, acting, everything. This movie is phenomenal. It's so good. And the only reason it's not my number 1 is because personally, I just like this next movie better, which is Whiplash, which is like the only non-horror or suspense movie on the list. Which,
to me, dog, Blumhouse is. You told me this afterwards. That it wasn't on my list. I didn't think about it. I didn't see it on anything that I looked up.
Yeah.
But if let's say I knew about it, it probably would have made my number 2 because it's an incredible movie. Damien Chazelle.
I went back
incredible.
and forth on them.
But Blumhouse is horror.
Well, and that kind of leads me to my point, in that, in a very subtle way, Whiplash, I won't say it's horror. It's a cautionary tale, is what it is.
I'll give you that, of course.
Like, it is about one man's kind of like personal horror, not shot in the traditional style of a horror film.
I guess.
So I'm not saying that Whiplash is a horror movie.
It's
But,
on a healthy drive.
huh?
It's on a healthy drive and passion.
It's an obsession.
Yeah.
And and it's also a movie about insecurity, really, is what it's about. But yeah, incredible filmmaking. I love Damien Chazelle. He's like easily my top 5 favorite working directors today. He only got 3 movies so far, but then again, Jordan Peele's only got 2, and we're about to get the 3rd, which I'm stoked for. But yeah, it's just like this small character study of this guy who is overly obsessed. So it's like you're interested in him. So it's like this. It's like The Social Network, but about drums, and better, in my opinion. And you also get J.K. Simmons throwing some of like the best, like just insults in movie history at someone, and then like throwing literal things at people. So like their dynamic is just so unhealthy that like to learn things from this movie, you have to dig deeper, which I appreciate, because if you just watch it at surface value, I could see how someone could watch it and then it could end and then they would be like, what was the point of that? Because like he didn't change. It's like, yeah, but that is the point. That's like what you learned from it. You learn that being this way can be unhealthy. It can also drive you to be incredibly good at something, but like you have to find the balance. And I like movies that are like that, where the point of the movie isn't necessarily in your face, like here you go, and you have to dissect and dig and think about it. This movie had me thinking about it for a very long time afterwards. Like the point of the story, the complexities of the filmmaking, all of that is really good. But like the way that it ends, like with them just blowing the competition they're in, like completely, but like still having that like final connection and mutual respect, I dig it.
I'm going to go home and watch that. Tell them in the comment section your top 5 favorite Blumhouse films. Scroll back up, hit the like button, share the video, and subscribe.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.